What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, and I'm broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. This is the Wagering World. I'm in here with my homie, man. He's a friend of the show and a friend of mine, man. Always a blessing to have his knowledge in here with us. What's good, Raheem Palmer from the Ringer, man?
What's good, man? Life is good. Can't complain. I was out in Philly for Thanksgiving. I was out there for a week. It's probably the first time I've been back in like a year and a half. So it was good to see my mom, uncle, friends, and family. But I'm happy to be back in Las Vegas, man. It's dreary and cold on the East Coast, and it's nice and cool and warm out here. So life is good.
You know what? I didn't get a chance to go home this year. We go home every year for the holidays. We go back to Houston, but this was our first holiday in our new home. So we wanted to kind of, blossom and welcome that in, a new year together in a new spot and, do that. And we've enjoyed it, man. Had a really good Thanksgiving. It's funny because all our kids are like right around the holidays. I got my 5-year-old, his birthday is on November 21st. And then got Thanksgiving coming up. And then my daughter's birthday is November 30th. She turned 2. And then my 11-year-old, his birthday is coming up on December 22nd, right before Christmas. So we have a busy spring. I tell my wife in the spring, stay away from me. But yeah, man, we don't, because I don't need any more holiday babies. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I feel that.
We usually go, bro. And what I noticed is after you are gone from the grind of living in the city like we live with you living in Philly and me living in Houston, you get out here, man, there's such a notch down in the speed of things and how things are going. People don't understand that the great thing about Las Vegas is it's only 5 miles of chaos. Like it's all contained to the strip. Besides that, you're in Utah, right? So it's like everything is slowed down. So when you go home, you like, man, I'm ready to get back to this peace, right?
So what's so crazy? I live downtown.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in the midst of the chaos, but I'm kind of not because I'm halfway in between like the Arts District and then halfway in between Old Vegas. So It's like and then the strip is really like 5 minutes away from me. So it's like I'm close to the chaos, but I still feel a level of peace out here just because I think everything in Philly is like it's either hood or hood adjacent.
Yeah.
And you can't escape it to the point where it's like I feel like my life in Vegas is almost full of opulence and damn near decadence because it's just like, yo, like I'm going to Carbone Riviera tonight. They got a fucking yacht outside at the restaurant. Right. You know what I'm saying? I got reservations to that shit tonight. It ain't no shit like that in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? To where it's so I'm around so much fly shit that just being in Vegas, I feel like I'm not even from like I feel like I made it out the hood, damn near. That's how I feel.
That's how Vegas makes you feel when you're from where we're from. That's what I'm saying, because everything that you said is hood adjacent. And that's exactly what I meant. Even with you was saying you're near downtown, it's a little bit more hustle and bustle than me being out in Summerlin, where it's completely, I might as well be a mountain man, because I damn near live up in the Red Rock Mountains. So, it's really slow paced after it's dark in the wintertime, 5 o'clock. Nobody's outside. Like, go outside, the streets are barren. You might see a couple of people jogging or some people on their bikes, but besides that, it's really no movement. Everyone's in the house chilling. And even though you're downtown, there's just a lot less people than think about how downtown Philadelphia is when it's cracking, and a lot less crime element as well.
So most definitely, most definitely. Like honestly, I just see some wild shit. Like I was at home and there was a motherfucker outside. This is the craziest shit. He was outside with a cooking oven, like from a restaurant. And he just was outside with it and just fucking around with it. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? Is you cooking? Is you frying a turkey? And he just went on this incoherent rant. I don't know if he was on drugs. He was spaced out. And I was like, yeah, let me get the fuck up out of here. So I leave. I come back. Dude rings my mom's doorbell at like 11:30, 12 at night. And he like, yo, look, my parents called the cops on me. I need you to vouch for me and tell them I'm a good guy. I'm like, I don't even fucking know you. I just spoke to you like a half hour ago, and now you asking me to vouch for you because the police is coming. Like, yo, you gotta bounce.
There's some wild shit, bro, in the city for sure. Man, I'm glad you had a good Thanksgiving. Glad you caught up with moms and everything, man. And now it's time to get to, the great thing about this time of the year, why Thanksgiving and Christmas is always my favorite time of the year. A lot of football. I know you bet NFL, but you're also an NBA guy. You know me, I'm strictly about the pig skin, man. I love the pig skin, but I hate pork. So I can't wait to bet some football. It's a big football betting weekend. Let's go to the past go. Just a couple of the games that we gave out the last time that we were on here, Raheem. Let's get to the past. Let's kick it off first with what we saw in the Packers at the Lions. I had the Packers +3 at the Lions. I think you were on the other side on that one.
Yeah, I was definitely on the other side. That was one of the worst. But you know what though? I got out of that game as soon as I saw Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was like, let me get up off this game.
Good. So how much percentage did you lose on the cash out?
I didn't lose much, honestly. It was barely anything because I actually got in game. So I got in game.
The first drive, I want to say the Packers ended up not putting any points up. Didn't they get stopped on 4th down on the first drive, right? So you had
I pretty much got out good.
I heard like the freaking first play of the drive because I was sick and I still won the game on my fantasy. He's my wide receiver 1, bro. I still was able to pull out a victory with 0 points for him. So that was clutch. Now I'm locked in. I'm in the playoffs. Can't nobody do anything, knock me out. So I can't wait to try to get that 5K out of my 16-year league that I do with my homeboys. Shout out to Architects. I know a couple of them boys in here probably watching the show. If not now, they're going to view it later, man. So the playoffs are starting on that. I was on the Packers. We texted a little bit before the game, and the reason why I like the Packers on this one was just because after I found out that, the running back was back, that makes a huge difference for me with them because I don't want Jordan Love just dropping back every down. It's important for them to establish the run game. We know the type of play caller that we have over there in their head coach. So with that said, I was like, the Packers just a better team. Right now, this time of the year, and we're going to talk about a little more when we talk about our 5 power teams in the NFL that we like. I'm all about balance, man. I need to be able to trust all 3 phases of your team. A lot of people leave out special teams as well, but all of that factors in, man, into getting wins, especially this time of the year. I just like that Packers defense and how they matched up with Goff. The O-line for the Lions is hurting right now. It's not the same as being. They tried to get Ragnar back, but he ends up not passing the physical. So just a downturn, man. And the year started, and I was talking all types of shit, Raheem, about look at Dan Campbell. That's my guy. Dan Campbell. And now it ends up as time keeps going. He bust Ben Johnson's ass early in the year, but now I bet you if they met again, I think I'd go with the Bears. Ben Johnson might be the coach of the year this year as he's been able to work around Caleb Williams and done a great job. But Dan Campbell's offense is really, falling off. He's taking chances. He took a horrible they went for a horrible 4th down play. They needed three yards, Raheem, and for some reason they run it up the gut on that one. So I didn't understand a lot of his play calling, but they've definitely fallen off. Also, Kevin Shepard's defense has fallen off, and the Lions aren't stopping the nosebleed right now. So going forward, who do you think is the more reliable team in the NFC, the Packers or the Lions, Raheem?
The Lions are cooked. The Lions are absolutely cooked. I mean, and tomorrow is a de facto elimination game against the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you look at this Detroit Lions team, and this was a team that I actually took under 11 wins.
Yeah.
You look at them, obviously last year they have a dream season. You can't ask for a better season. And then obviously all of the defensive injuries that they had last year, it kind of killed their chances to really do anything. It almost feels like their window is closed. They were up 17 in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers. Then, the following year, they're dominant the whole season. 15-2, 14-3, whatever it was. They had a dream season, and then all of the injuries happen. They get blown out at home as like 10.5-point favorites to Washington. And then this year, they lose Frank Ragnow. My guy goes over to Tennessee, the other guy off the offensive line. So the offensive line is the same. And then you lose Ben Johnson, and we know that defense isn't very good. So I expected this Lions team to take a step back. Not only did I take them under 11 wins, I also took a flyer on them to miss the postseason. So I feel like, if they lose tomorrow, I'm sitting in good position with both of those win totals. And I also bought in on the Chicago Bears to win the division at 9-1. A lot of people looked at me like I was crazy. I had a lot of people on YouTube, on my Ringer Gambling show talking shit. Well, it was one person in particular. He knows who he is. He keep popping off and talking crazy on the YouTube.
Always one of them.
Yeah, but I ended up being, I mean, I'm not going to say I was right, but ultimately I'm in a position now to where the Bears are first place in the NFC and first place in the NFC North, and I can hedge off that position for profit. So it's not about always winning these future bets. It's always about, putting yourself in positions to be able to make money and hedge off and work off that position.
Yes, that's always the angle. We've been on this show now. This is the 4th season. I've always taught my guys in the community, when it comes to buying these futures, sometimes they don't even seem plausible, but it's just the value in them. And then as you keep going, you realize this is a game, man. And in the game, anything that can happen. And now the things that seem like they weren't plausible ended up being where you have them now, what I call hedgeable. Now you have an opportunity to make some money on it. Shout out to my guy, Shane Lenz. He's always up in the building. Get your workout on, brother, and enjoy the show. My boy Peasy. Shout out, Peasy. Glad to have you up in here. We're getting it a little bit later than we usually do. We're usually morning guys, man, but our schedules ended up where we had to do it in the evening today, because we're getting right into the heart of my time of betting with my group. They got to wait about an hour. Usually we get at it about 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on college basketball. We'll be back on at about 4:30. We'll jump in. All right, let's get to another game we need to, review real fast. Your Cowboys plus 3.5 at the Chiefs. What did you see in that one, Raheem? And also, what do you think about these two teams moving forward?
So I bet the Cowboys 2 weeks in a row, and then I stayed off this game just because you know what it is? I find myself giving the Chiefs too much respect.
Yeah.
And this was one of those times where I gave them too much respect. I probably should have played the Cowboys. I didn't play the game at all. And I totally regretted it. It was probably the worst thing I've done, because I think this Cowboys team right now, they're playing like one of the best teams in the league since they traded for Quentin Williams. The defense has gotten better, and we know Dak is playing at an MVP level. So that's probably one of my regrets.
Yeah, I was on this team from the beginning of the year. I just didn't expect it to take so long to come to fruition, but I guess it's the injuries. They get back DeMarion Overshown, who anyone who follows me know I was big on at Texas. He was a big playmaker, great pick for Cowboys. The trade for Quentin Williams was immense for them. Before Quentin Williams got there, they were bottom 5 in the league, stopping the run. Now, since he's been there, not only have they won 3 straight, but they're ranked in the top 3 in stopping the run. Also, you get healthy with Logan Wilson. You get the safeties back in Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. When people were criticizing Jerry Jones for hiring Schottenheimer, I was going all out saying it was an excellent hire, because Brian Schottenheimer, if you looked at his past, he paid all his dues. He's a coach's son. He's been around the locker room since he was a child. Perfect guy for this job, and this is the first time that he'd taken a head coaching position. It wasn't the first time it had been offered to him, so he picked his spot. I really liked everything about that hire. I told people Jerry and Stephen Jones have made billions, not from being stupid. They have a plan. And a lot of times, because of the media coverage and because Jerry gets a little older and older people kind of say what's on their mind, he gets himself in jams where people think he's dumb or something, and he's far from it. He didn't take a team that he paid $2 million for and turn it to $1 billion team by being dumb. So not only is he a great marketing man, he's a football guy as well, one of the few owners who actually is. You can look over the past decade, the Cowboys always draft good. They're probably one of the more successful drafting teams in the NFL as a franchise. So I'm not surprised at all. My biggest bet preseason was on the Cowboys to go over 7.5 wins. I need 2 more to get them right.
Here's the crazy thing. So the Micah Parsons trade created an opportunity for me, because when he got traded, some books went to 6.5.
Okay.
So, and I took the 6.5 because, so it's so funny. I actually laid the 7.5 with the Cowboys on the over, because, back in March, I said to myself, look, Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback in this league. You go through all his seasons, his floor is 8 games. They won 12 games 3 years in a row. And ultimately, in the seasons where he got hurt, they won at least 8 games. So if the floor is 8 games, 9 games or so, and he's gotten hurt in those seasons, there's no way that they don't go over this if they play elite. I mean, if he plays a full season. So I saw that and took the 7.5. But then when they traded Micah Parsons, I said to myself, this defense hasn't been good with Micah Parsons. You look at the last couple of years, they couldn't stop the run. And ultimately, the last year they went to the postseason, they went 12-4 or whatever. A big reason for their success on defense was generating turnovers. So the defense wasn't as good as people thought it was. So ultimately, if you trade Micah Parsons, I didn't think the defense would take a step back that much. And I thought the offense would be good enough. And now that they figured out the defense, it's like this is a top tier team in the NFL. So 6.5 was like a straight up bargain. And you could take that, as soon as they traded Micah Parsons and went to 6.5. And then the funny thing is they lost to the Eagles and they didn't even adjust the line. They just adjusted the juice. So it was 6.5, like minus 110. And you basically, you could have doubled down then. So I told everybody to do that. And hopefully a lot of my followers got on board because I thought we got one more win and we're over.
Yeah, I had over 7.5 at plus 155. The juice was to minus 190 on Caesars. And I was like, this is ridiculous with all the experience Schottenheimer has on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you can go all the way back to him not only learning from his dad, he learned the defensive side of the ball with his dad and also did defensive quality control with the Cowboys before he was working alongside Dan Quinn, helping him with, showing the offensive side on the defense so that they could, run some packages and things to practice for the upcoming team, scout team and stuff. And then he takes over the offense, which he had. Russell Wilson had his best season under him. Going all the way back to Chad Pennington had his best season with the Jets under him as well. So Schottenheimer paid his dues, man. Learned under the great at Florida under their great ex starting quarterback Steve Spurrier. So he just had paid his dues, man. I knew he was going to be a good hire. You look on the other side of the ball, the Chiefs are in the same situation with the Steelers with less winning. Andy Reid's time has just elapsed, in my opinion, bro. Like it's come deaf ears now. With
time out. You got to say that again for people. You said Andy Reid's time is coming to an end.
Yeah, it is, bro. It is.
Wow, that's a take right there.
Well, you have to be. I mean, Andy Reid is the only changes that you can make. You're not going to trade Mahomes. So what's the changes are going to be made? Right. So that obviously means you've seen some slugs lately in the media from Mahomes. He had to say it outright, but if you can read between the lines, he's saying they need some new energy, new play calls. They've been running the same stuff since he's been there, and the league's finally caught up. It's only so much ad-libbing that Mahomes could do, and the difference is they're a little exposed now because the defense isn't as strong as it's been in the past. In the past, you could just lean on the defense when people are on the offense because you're a Philly guy. Andy Reid has had a long issue. People try to act like Andy Reid's such a great coach. He's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. He's a Hall of Fame first ballot. But he never won a Super Bowl until he got Mahomes. And the reason why is because Mahomes could ad-lib and bring just a little extra. Because he's one of those guys that micromanage the game. You know that. He's got the checks. He's got everything in line that you're supposed to do. And with him being an ex-offensive tackle, he loves to throw the ball. You would think he'd like to run it, but he likes to throw it. And that's what got him in trouble. He never ran the ball. He's doing the same thing in Kansas City. And now Mahomes is like, damn, we've been running these same plays for 8 years since I've been here. We're not gonna change nothing up. And I don't have Cheetah now, where before me and Cheetah could fix things. Okay, I'll call a check. Cheetah, you in the slot, you can get one-on-one on top of the safety. We can get over this bad play call by taking a shot. Now they can't do that because Xavier Worthy isn't Cheetah. He isn't that guy. He's a cool receiver, but it's a difference between Tyreek Hill, who's a Hall of Famer, with different speed on the field, and Xavier Worthy, who's a nice gadget guy, So I just think that it's time for them to make a change. I think they need to find a young guy. I love for them to they should go go get Cliff Kingsbury. I think he'll be excellent with the Chiefs and keep Steve Spagnuolo as the defensive coordinator. But that's what's wrong, in my opinion, with the Chiefs. What do you think is wrong with the Chiefs?
I think it's the offensive line. I think they're all banged up. And I think you're going to see it this week against Houston. I just think they're so banged up. Like, if you look at you pull out the list of guys who just all have injuries, and it's just it puts them in a tough spot. And ultimately, like, we know football is one of the trenches. So if football is one in the trenches, it's like you're not going to be able to win if you got to go up against Will Anderson in one of the best defensive lines in the league. Like, you look at Josh Simmons, he broke his wrist. Jawan Taylor, he has an ankle.
He already wasn't good.
Exactly.
Good already. So
you got Trey Smith banged up.
Yeah.
So it's just like the offensive line is a mess. You stuck with Wanye Morris, and every time they say his name, I think of Boys II Men. I can't even take him serious.
Right.
That's what I think of. So it's like, it's just tough sledding at some point in time. Like, even the Cowboys defensive line was getting to, Mahomes. So I think, like, Mahomes is still good, but he's not God level where he was a couple years ago. Like, he's just not. Like, there was a period of time where if you told me Mahomes was down 3, he was down 4, he was down 5, 6, 7, I just knew that he was going to find a way to win the game. I don't feel like that anymore. So ultimately, like, I think they could lose this week against the Texans.
They are going to lose most likely to the Texans. And the reason why is because how the hell are they going to block them up? As long as the Texans don't allow how sometimes a team can beat you before you get to the stadium. They have to get over that. They did it with the Ravens, but mind you, Lamar didn't play. So they beat them to death because they had the opportunity. They've always had no issues with the Bills. The final level, like how you play games, the final level for the Texans are being able to go into Kansas City and win. The Chiefs have had a dark cloud over the Texans ever since that comeback when they were losing to them by 24 points in like the first quarter, and Bill O'Brien and Deshaun Watson allowed Mahomes to kind of start his legacy with that comeback, right? And they've never recovered from that in Houston, in the fan base or inside the building on Kirby. So they're going to need this one this week. This is the game of their season. If they can win that game, knock the Chiefs out the playoffs, get rid of the Wicked Witch of the West, it's over with. I think the Texans will be the favorite, in my opinion, at that time in the AFC, along with the Patriots, to get to the Super Bowl. Speaking of the Texans, the last game I'm going to look back at, we both did really well on Texas plus 3.5 and money line at the Colts. What did you see in Indianapolis?
Oh, that was my favorite bet of last week. I think I might have texted you this. I bet the Texans last week on Sunday, and I took the rest of the day off. To me, I just feel like this Texas defensive line, it's a problem. They've been only giving up 16.5 points per game. And going into that game, you look at what they did to Matthew Stafford. You look at what they did to Josh Allen. That defense is for real. It's Super Bowl caliber. And ultimately, they should have a better record than what they had, because, you saw the game against the Rams. They were driving at the 18-yard line while they fumbles the ball as they're driving to take the lead. You go back to the Jaguars game. They're driving to take the lead under 2 minutes to go in Jaguars territory at the 10 or 15-yard line. They fumble the ball. Jaguars take it down, score a touchdown, and ended up covering. So those are two games where the Texans win, and they're sitting pretty. But I just think this Texans team is far better than their record. And also you go back to the Monday Night Football game against Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. They got a 4th and 10. Baker Mayfield miraculously escapes the sack, and somehow they lose that game. They start off the season 0-3. Like, they're 0-3, and at bare minimum, they should have gotten one of those games. Instead, they lose all 3. So they've been, very unfortunate. And then you go back to the game against the Broncos, they lose 18-15. CJ Stroud gets hurt. So you got 4 games, you got 4 one-score games that just didn't go their way. So I think now they're in a position. CJ Stroud is back. The offense looks better than it has earlier on in the season, and the defense is still playing lights out. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm looking at the schedule. They might win out.
Yep.
If they beat the Chiefs, they're going to win out.
We definitely should win out. I got a little bit on when I saw that the Nick Caley was finally getting it together a little bit on the offensive side, because that's the only Achilles. And that's all of the losses have been on the offensive side of the ball, except for one game the defense had a horrible game and ended up coming back and still winning that game, a miracle against Jacksonville. when they just didn't come to play. But the offense bailed them out. Davis Mills was able to get it done. And that kind of started the momentum that we're seeing now. But the Texas whole struggles have been on one side of the ball. DeMeco Ryan approached this season in the wrong aspect. He came in as a defensive coordinator, and with him being a young coach and a young black coach, he's afraid to hire a big name as the OC because he feels like if I get the wrong guy, he's going to be sniffing at my job if I come up short with the roster we've assembled. And he doesn't need to do that. He needs to have confidence in himself having a major voice in that locker room. Him hiring Nick Caley after just getting off of Bobby Slowick, who was another guy who's a first-time play caller, is just him wanting to have the final say in everything and the last word. And that's okay. You're the CEO of the team. You're the head coach, but hire someone who has a proven system already. And a lot of those games that we struggle in would not have happened. Not guys who are just learning on the job. Nick Caley is figuring it out as we're going. We're seeing some improvement. He's doing really much better in the passing game. I'm starting to see what I expected. With him coming from the Rams and being under McVay, I expected him to be the type of coach that you're not going to take away my wide receiver one. We know that's what McVay shines at the most. It doesn't matter. You're not stopping Puka Nacua. You're not stopping Cooper Kupp when he was on top. I'm going to figure out a way to get the ball to my number one guy, and you're not going to stop me. I'm going to get him uncovered. He's doing that more with Nico Collins, and that's opening up everything with the offense. My guy, Big Sarge, who covers the Texans, said today that Woody Marks wasn't in practice, but Woody Marks is a tough kid, boy, out of Atlanta area. He's going to play. But he's another key to that offense. One of the highest IQ rookies in the whole league. If you watch tape on the Texans, their offense has improved due to Woody Marks' ability to not only pass block, get tough yards, understand situations like we need to get here and I need to get down. Great in the passing game. He was a steal for the Texans. So Woody Marks has been huge. I think CJ is getting his confidence now and getting a little bit more used to Katie's system. So everything's pointing up for the Texans. And as you said, you talk about the defensive line. That just isn't it. It's the whole package for the Texans. One of the best defenses we've seen in a long time. They're number one in defensive yards allowed, only allowing 265 per game. Then you look at their pass defense, they're fourth. They're second in touchdowns allowed through the air. Only the Broncos have given up less. Then you look at them for rushing defense, they're fourth in allowing only 90 yards per game. You looked at their number two when it comes to giving up rushing touchdowns. So this is a real versatile, good team. There's no weaknesses on it. You got Stingley on one side, who's a lockdown corner. You got Lassiter, who's that aggressive, strong support corner. Just a great, really good built team, and I expect a lot from the Texans. Everything falls on the shoulders now of C.J. Stroud and Nick Caley, because if the Texans can score 24 points per game the rest of the way, they won't lose a game. Their number is 24. If they get to 24, I don't see anyone in this league, not with how Mahomes is playing right now. And it seems like Mahomes is, like I said, somebody having what do you call it? I guess he's kind of like going against Andy Reid now and kind of bucking him. I think that they don't care if they don't make the playoffs. That's what I'm seeing from them. Him and Chris Jones look like almost on some, I'm tired. Like
I'm tired.
We've been playing the postseason all the way to the Super Bowl the last 10 years. I'm tired. My body's finally caught up. And Andy Reid in here saying the same shit we've been hearing for 10 years. We don't want to hear them saying, that's what's going on with the Chiefs. So I think the Texans can knock them out this week. The Texans are a better team right now than the Chiefs if they're playing to their full potential. That's the key. But if they're not playing their full potential,
what's so crazy? I'm looking at their schedule. And the 4 games they lost, the most points they gave up was 27. And you look at the first 3 games of the season, they lost games against the Rams. They gave up 14 points against the Rams. That Rams offense been one of the best in the league.
Yes.
You look at the Bucks. They gave up 20 points in that game. The game against the Jaguars, they gave up 17 points. So they lost 3 games and where they gave up under 21 points. That's below the NFL scoring average. So that tells you how good this defense is. Like the Rams, outside of that game against the Texans, they pretty much scored more than 21 points every single game this year. So it's just this Texans defense is really Super Bowl caliber. And I think I think like I'm looking at this season is a little bit different because I see 3 superhuman quarterbacks in the AFC. Obviously, it's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Right. I don't think any 3 of those teams are good enough to win the Super Bowl. And I'm seeing the best teams in the league right now dominate with defense. So I think this could be one of those years to where you see a 2000s Ravens or you could see a 2013 Seattle Seahawks where it's just a defense is going to carry a team to the Super Bowl because these offenses haven't been, what they were in the past. And it's not enough to just have a good quarterback right now.
Not at all. I was just reading about that, as the quarterback won, as it diminished, man. I think the main thing now is to have a solid defense, and the Texans are in the perfect situation. You got a quarterback who's a point guard type of quarterback who spreads the ball around, and when he's on and accurate, he can really throw darts all over the field, and then he's getting paid on a rookie contract. So the Texans are in a great position. We also cashed last week Kansas on college basketball. They were able to get it done for us, +6 and money line against Tennessee. And my Michigan Wolverines at +2.5. They dominated Gonzaga. I put in a ticket. I posted it on my ex. You guys jump in, man. Michigan to win the college basketball championship at +1,000 is a really good investment right now. All right, Raheem, we've been in the past enough. Let's jump into the present, man. A lot going on. This is a week where a lot of college football, NFL, since we're already talking NFL. Let's start there. I want to hear from you. What's my guy Raheem Palmer's top 5 NFL teams and why?
Let's go top 5 NFL teams. I'm going to go look at my model real quick. I'm going to see what this says. My model actually has this at... I got the Rams at number 1. That's what my model actually has.
Mine too. I got them number 1 as well. Go backwards. Who you got number 5?
Number 5. Now, I got to remind everybody, this is just my model. It's not me. Now, I can give you what I think, and I can also give you what my model thinks.
I want to hear the model and what you think.
Okay, so my model has the Packers number 5.
Okay.
It has the Detroit Lions number 4.
Okay.
A big part of that is priors. We all know football is a small sample size sport, so you got to kind of use games from prior seasons. I haven't weighted toward more recent data, but also if you look at the Detroit Lions, it's so interesting because, we spoke about them earlier struggling. I said the Lions were done, right? Well, the Lions are 3rd in the NFC North and have the best point differential in the division because you look at the games in which they've won. They blew out the Baltimore Ravens. Like when they win big. They've won enough big games to where it's keeping their power rating high, and they've also won games against solid teams like the Baltimore Ravens. So ultimately, the prior is keeping them at number 4. Number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. That's another one where the prior is kind of keeping them very high. Okay. Number 2, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. And then number 1, I have the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay. And from you, outside of what you run through your model, what's your opinion? What's your top 5? Which teams would you change?
What teams would I change? Obviously, I would take out the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions are absolutely cooked. I think 1 and 2 is probably correct. I think the Rams and the Seahawks are probably, I'd argue that they're 2 of the best teams in the league. I think the AFC, it's so interesting because I don't think the Bills are very good. I probably would take the Bills out as well. Okay. I think the AFC is just so wide open. It's so fascinating because I think the Colts are pretty much, they're kind of cooked right now. Like Daniel Jones has the fibula injury.
Can't move. He's nothing without his legs. He needs those.
Yeah, he can't really move right now. So I think they're not the same. I think teams are starting to kind of figure them out. I look at the Patriots. I think they're very good, but they haven't beaten anybody good.
That's the one we disagree on. Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's like it's kind of, I don't know if I would put them top 5. Mm-hmm. I probably would put them like 6th or 7th.
Okay.
All right, here's my top 5. I'm gonna go this. I'm gonna go Rams, Seahawks. I'm gonna go Packers. Damn, see, this is hard. Like I'm gonna be real with you. This is very difficult for me because my model says one thing, And then I kind of think like I'm still kind of uncertain about a lot of these teams. Like I'm not that high on the Packers, even though my motto is. I think the Bears are a team who I think is undervalued by the markets. It's also undervalued by me. So, all right, I'm gonna go Rams, Seahawks. I actually am going to throw the Patriots in there because I think Drake May is playing at such a high level, and I think Vrabel is coaching them to like incredibly well. I really want to go to Texans because I do think the defense is probably the best unit in the NFL, best individual unit in the NFL. Okay. And then I got one more. If I got to go one more, I'm going to say the Packers only because I still trust the defense. And I think if they can figure out something on offense, I think they're a team that nobody wants to play.
Yep. And see, when you came off the head, our list is very similar. I got number 5, Houston Texans, strictly because of the defense. The defense is that good, only allowing 16 points per game. So that makes it really easy for a team that has the weapons on offense to be able to make them competitive against anyone. So I like the Texans at 5. Also, they have a really good coach. And as the season goes on, getting the playoffs, we've seen before, DeMeco Ryans is a defensive mind you don't want to face in the playoffs. Then I have at number 4 the Seahawks, another great defensive-minded head coach, Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald is one of my guys that I have so much respect for. You notice that when he left the Ravens, the defense completely dropped off the edge of a cliff. You know, he was one of those guys that meant so much to the team, similar to what we talk about what happened with the Lions with Ben Johnson leaving, how he was so important to that room, that coach's room, man, that you see just a difference, complete difference. Then I had at number 3 the Packers, strictly for my respect for their head coach. I think that their head coach, I always talk about if I wanted to start a team, Matt LaFleur would be the guy that I would want coaching my team. McVay probably now has jumped him again, but a couple years ago when I first said this about Matt LaFleur being the guy I would want as my head coach, McVay was talking a little bit about going into broadcast, and he had burnt out some, but now he seems fully engaged again. And the impressive thing about McVay, he reminds me of what Sean Payton did with the Saints. He's been able to get more involved on the defensive side of the ball and understands that, hey, man, I got to grow this team. It can't just be me winning these shootouts. So he's done a really good job. He's one of the best coaches in the league as well. And that's why I have them number 1. But I have number 2, the Patriots, and it's coaching. I said before the season, the biggest offseason acquisition was the Patriots getting Mike Vrabel. The Patriots have a solid team, have a solid roster. They just needed the right guidance and the guy that understood that, hey, we're the Patriots. Tom Brady set a legacy here where we're going to win. Bill Belichick has. All we have to do is continue to take advantage of this great home field advantage we have and steal a couple games on the road in a weak AFC East, and they've done that. I did not expect the growth we've seen from Drake May. I knew that he was a good quarterback. I just was retweeting how I talked about him in college as a freshman, that he was going to be a star in the NFL. But even with that said, you don't know it until it really happens, you know, and Josh McDaniel has done an excellent job. I didn't think he was going to be able to turn him into a guy that could run his system, but Josh McDaniel is a hell of a coach, man. He's a great OC, one of the best OCs we've seen in the NFL, because he's able to mix in some of the things he did with Brady, but more, he's able to put in some new things that highlight May's athleticism, his ability to throw the deep ball. He throws some beautiful bucket passes, what I call them, when, you know, you got a little air on the ball, dropping it into the bucket. Yeah. A couple of those the other night. Really good player, man. And he set up for success, comes from a really great family. His dad was a basketball star in North Carolina. His brother was as well, won a national championship. So Drake May is a guy that I'm really, really high on. Got married at a young age, so he's all business, man. He's going to have a great NFL career. And then you got number 1. We both agree, the Rams. I mean, the metrics show it. You don't have a more complete team that is as good offensively as defensively. The thing why the Patriots are number 2 for me is because they have the best special teams out of all of the teams we listed top 5. The Texans are shaky at kicking because Fairburn is good, but he still misses extra points, misses some deep ones. Kick return game is pretty decent with the kid that they got in Noel. Seahawks, they so-so. Myers, all right on it. Packers, so-so, you know, with their special teams. The Patriots, though, with Marcus Jones, he can change the game, man. He can change the game. Vrabel does a good job of highlighting that. And the Rams, they play inside, so I don't really take their kicker, as important as most teams.
But you know what, though? Their special teams is scary.
The Rams,
like that might be the thing that hurt them. And then also the one thing about the Rams, their secondary is weak.
It is.
I mean, they got a good pass rush, but you can pass on them. So it's like, honestly, more than any other year, I really feel like this year is wide open.
Yeah, because I'm looking at both sides. When they said they wanted mediocrity to come to the NFL, it's finally arrived, and it's exciting for us as fans. As bettors, it's not as exciting because it's not a huge margin of, to get in and find an advantage because all these teams are so evenly matched. All right, let's get to the schedule and talk about this week's game. It's a lot of good ones. Let's start with your Cowboys. Big games all this week, man. Going to Detroit on Thursday night. Going to be an exciting game, man. Lions are laying 3. I don't know why I put +3. Let me fix that. The Lions are laying 3. And the over and under is 54.5. What do you think about this one?
I love the Dallas Cowboys, man. I'm taking the money line. I just think this Cowboys team is just playing on an entirely different level right now. And you look at all of the injuries to the Detroit Lions on the offensive line, on defense. I don't see a world where they keep up. So I'm on the Cowboys. I'm on the money line. I'm not even going to worry about the points in this game.
All right. And I'm going to go with the total on this one. I'm going to go over 54.5. These two teams might get to it in the first half. And the reason why is the Lions have lost, 2 or 3 games in a row. Before that, they had won so many games without losing back-to-back games. Dan Campbell's going to have them ready to play. Amon St. Brown gets lucky because it's a lower sprain, and Dan Campbell's already said if he can play, he's going to play, which means he's going to play. So even though he hasn't practiced all week, it isn't like him and Jared Goff aren't on the same page, but he's necessary even if he's just out there because their whole offense – people don't understand how big he is at offense. He's their lead blocker. They run all their gadget plays with him. Like, he's the key piece to the offense just as much as Jahmyr Gibbs. So they're going to have
Ian Rappaport said he's probably not going to play.
That's what he's saying, huh?
Yeah, they saying that's a 1-2 week injury.
Well, we'll see. If he doesn't play, I still like the over just because we've seen the Lions struggle on defense. We know the Cowboys are playing better. But what's the path to victory for the Lions? They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop the Cowboys. So with the line being 3, they're telling you that it's basically a pick 'em because -3 is the home team. Pretty much that's what they get at home anyway in the NFL by the book. So I'd say over 54.5. It's a high total, but I just think that it's going to become a shootout, kind of like what we saw with the Chiefs and Cowboys. I just think that the offense for the Lions is going to make some adjustments, and Campbell understands their strength is scoring. That's their strength. So I'm sure that's what he's focusing on this week is like, how can we get the ball back in the end zone and become a dominant offensive team again? So my guy, Raheem, says he's on the Cowboys +3 in money line, and I'm going to ride with the over 54.5 on that one. All right, let's get to one that's not as popular with I'd say a lot of fan bases, but strangely is the most popular game maybe in the NFL for the 2 quarterbacks that's playing, and that's the Titans traveling to Cleveland. The Browns are laying 4, the lowest total of 2025. The over and under is 34. 2 young, motivated quarterbacks is they're both frenemies. They're guys that hang with each other, but you could always tell that Cam was a little bit jealous of Shador because Shador had all the shine on him. Shador family got money. Cam from the trenches. He's from West Columbia, a little small town outside of Houston where it's not a lot going on. He come from a family that was in the trap. And then you got Shador, who's like the black Richie Rich. He gets everything he wants. He's always been Deion's favorite. He's his golden child since he was a little baby. Beautiful mom, beautiful dad. Everything's just great. So Cam, even though they were friends and worked out together, you could always tell on the little videos how that frenemy stuff was going on with Cam was slightly jealous of Shador. And I think Shador always thought of himself as a better quarterback than Cam. But we'll see this week. I could tell you, starting off for me, I definitely be on the Browns on this one. I don't think that the Titans are a good enough team. I think Shador doesn't have to do much. Just he has the perfect formula. Now they had last week. I had them against the Niners, and they would have covered if Stefanski doesn't go for it from the own freaking 32. When that started the avalanche, the game was 10-8, and the Browns were in the game. They were playing, small ball and staying around. He goes for it and it kind of just opens up the door, man. And from there, the Niners took over that game. But Shador doesn't have to do anything, man, but hit 2 chunk plays a game with this type of team, because it's going to loosen up the safeties enough. Judkins is going to run for 100 yards on against mostly anybody, So if he hits a couple of big plays to Fannin, I don't know what's going on with Jerry Jeudy. He's a kind of head case, so I don't know what's going on with him, but he needs to hit a couple chunk plays, and I think the Browns can win this one going away, man. I just don't think the Titans have the roster to hang with Cleveland. What do you think, Raheem?
I refuse to bet on the Titans. Absolutely refuse. Like, they covered 3 straight in a row, and they kind of like it was like almost like that was the hook for us, for a lot of people, because a lot of people bet on the Titans last week, and you think that's a spot, divisional game. You think they're starting to get better, and then they completely lay an egg. And it's just at this point in time, you're talking about a team that just does not cover. They don't win and they do not cover. And I look at my model. I actually have this Cleveland minus 4.5, which is, pretty much right where the market is at 4. It's tough to lay points with Shador Sanders, but the gift here is that Cleveland is playing at home. And we know Cleveland's defense at home is much different than they are on the road. They could win this game by themselves. And, you start to realize how ridiculous this Browns defense is at home or just at general, because you look at last week, and I'm looking at the defensive props. Last week, Myles Garrett was minus 245 to record a sack.
Wow.
Now, obviously, the sports books don't have it up now because they don't put, the defensive props up this early. But I imagine he's going to be the same again this week. And it's just this Browns defense at home is not something that I want to fade. Obviously, the Browns, they took sharp money last week against the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers barely did anything. And obviously they were able to cover that game with short fields, but this is a tough one. I think it's Browns or pass, but ultimately I have to stay away from this one.
All right, if I'm going to play it, I'm definitely playing the Browns on this. So I think they win by double digits, honestly. I just don't think the Titans are a good team at all, man. I think that they're hurting in a lot of places, and I also think that with the firing of their head coach, now you got a second regime already in Cam Ward's first year. That's just a lot, man, on a rookie. You're going on the road, and I think the Browns are going to be really, really hyped to perform well because, as I said, it's a little rivalry going on between Shador and between Cam Ward. All right, let's get to the next game. These are some games that are going to decide the division, man, in the NFL, bro. So these are going to be some real important games. Big week in the NFL this week. All right, let's go to Baltimore, man. We got the Steelers coming in town. No Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers will be out, correct?
Oh, he is?
Is he playing? We need to know because
he played last week.
Yeah, but he didn't play. He was looking. They said he was looking like the thieves on Home Alone after that game.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, he's playing. Yeah, but this is at this point in time, this is not the Aaron Rodgers of old. This is sunken one Aaron Rodgers. This is weekend at Burton. They might be holding up. Yeah, he's washed. He's Larry Holmes status, flabby and sick. This is not the Aaron Rodgers. I'm laying it with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers has been terrible.
This is a perfect spot. I'm with you on that one. I'll be on the Ravens if I play a side on this one because Lamar looked completely inept on Thanksgiving. His legacy cannot stand for that. So before the last 2 matchups, Mike Tomlin had gave Lamar a really tough time in his career, but I think he's got over that little Achilles that he had, and now he's smacking the Steelers. The last 2 times they smacked and they covered. I think they averaged about 16, 17-point wins in the last two. So, yeah, I'm with you. Ravens need this one. After all of the mess, they still can win the division, still get in the playoffs. So I think we see the best version of the Ravens. And whoever's under center for the Steelers, it really doesn't matter, man. All right, let's get to the next one. This is for the AFC South. For first place right here, we got the Colts at the Jags. The Jags are catching 1.5. The over and under is 47.5. Two really well-coached teams, two young teams, two quarterbacks who you don't know what you're going to get. They're like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get out those two. What's your opinion on this one? And do you lean aside?
What game was this? This was
the Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, so this game's very fascinating to me. You want to take a wild guess, and when was the last time the Colts won in Jacksonville? Take a wild guess.
It's been a while. I remember it's one because it's like they have a crazy streak going against the Colts, and I believe the Titans have a crazy one going against the Jags, I want to say. And I think the Texans, we have a crazy streak going against the Jags, I want to say. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's been a long time.
So, September 21st, 2014 was the last time the Colts won on the road against the Jaguars.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. You're talking 10 straight games.
I like that. I like that.
So, it's like the NFL has these and I hate it because it makes no fucking sense at all. But you look at the NFL, it has these weird trends where certain teams just don't win in certain spots or just don't beat certain teams. I don't know why. It's inexplicable. You look at the Cowboys earlier this year. Kyler Murray would beat the crap out of the Cowboys. Yeah. They could not. And then obviously Kyler Murray doesn't play, and Arizona still beats the Cowboys. For whatever reason, it just does not happen. And this is one of those trends. Now, you look at, there's going to be a lot of sharps all over the Colts here. They're going to say this is a good buy low spot. Jaguars really haven't faced a good offense. I mean, you look at some of the quarterbacks they played, Geno Smith, Davis Mills, Jacoby Brissett, Cam Ward, the Chargers. I mean, and this was a Chargers without the offensive lineman. So they beat up on Justin Herbert. So ultimately, this Colts offense, even with Daniel Jones and a messed up fibula, it's an upgrade over anybody they played. Like this Jaguars offense is, I mean, they're pretty much fraudulent. And I think Jonathan Taylor should be able to kind of run all over this defense. The Jaguars are 25th ranked pass defense by success rate. But I just can't pull the trigger on the Colts. I just think this Colts team is kind of, they're kind of plummeting right now. I don't see a team that's the same team that they were earlier this year. And because of the streak, as outlandish as it sounds, that's going to keep you off of this game.
Yeah, I'm all on the Jags on this one. I really like Liam Cohen. I like the when they made the hire and everyone was laughing at him when he did the little Duval. But he's a strategic guy, really smart guy, has his team ready to play. They're just flying under the radar, man. And as you said, it's a big deal when a team is used to lining up with another team, seeing that helmet and being successful against them. And now you have 10 straight wins at home against them. I think that continues. The Colts are a talented team, but the thing is this: when you got Daniel Jones without his legs, he's not a guy that you want dropping back and working from the pocket and having to get the progressions. We know that even though he went to Duke and is a pretty intelligent guy, he just isn't that smart when the pressure turns up on him, being able to read defenses. You could trick him. And you were talking about Jonathan Taylor running on the Jags. I don't know, man. The Jags right now are ranked first in the amount of rush yards per game. They're only giving up 82 yards per game on the ground. I know they haven't faced a run game like Jonathan Taylor and the Colts offensive line. I love the Colts offensive line. They just got a whole bunch of dudes that's gonna wear overalls and drive tractors and just push your ass. I love their offensive line. That's who you want blocking for you. But it's Daniel Jones at the end of the day. Everyone knows, concentrating on Jonathan Taylor. Now, if Jonathan Taylor gets loose and has a 200-yard game, they're going to lose. Simple as that. But if it comes down to them being able to contain them under 100 yards, which I think they can, and making them where they're getting some third and longs, and now you got to trust Daniel Jones to beat you, the Colts are in trouble, man. Daniel Jones needs his mobility because he's really a 1-2 read guy. And then I can get vertical and run, and he's a really fast straight line runner. And those third downs that he gets by with his feet, man, it really were like drive extenders and disappointments for the defense. Like, damn, I got to line up again now and hit Jonathan Taylor. So his mobility is a big deal. Him playing with a broken fibula is a huge deal. He had a solid attempt against the Texans, but as you saw, as the game really went down to it and it mattered, what happened. And Colts fans, stop crying, please. Please stop crying on the internet about that game. Let it go, man. You guys lost.
Oh,
man.
my God.
The Texans were the best team that whole game. Anyone who watched the game like we both did from the beginning to the end, they'll tell you, if not for that interception by C.J. Stroud that gave after the Texans, it just got a huge 4th and inches stop. The next play, he throws an interception. The defense like, damn, we just made a big stop, and you got us back on the field, and they gave up a touchdown. But C.J. Stroud, being the kind of guy he is, he goes right back down the field and gets the touchdown back, which was huge in that game. But if not for that interception, I don't think this game would have even been as close as it ended up being. Where you could start arguing about, he missed the extra point and we could have kicked the field goal and the clock ran out. First of all, when the clock they saying expired on the snap, they keep a whole completely different clock on the field that the refs look at the clock from the floor. We see the clock is always like a half a second faster because I've seen it so many times and got ticked. When I'm betting the team, like, damn, he didn't get it off on time, and they let it go because they explained it that the refs have a different clock on the field that they're watching, and they go by that one. So it's a little bit off. And then the second thing you guys saying, well, they were hand fighting. Dude, hand fighting past 5 yards is illegal contact. It's just a judgment call. If the ref wants to call it, it's still a foul that occurred. So, guys, just move on to the next week. I think that's
and let's be real about that game. The Texans dominated that game.
Yeah,
from the start of it through the end of it. And ultimately, if you look at that game, the Texans, they got the ball with, 4 minutes left. They're at the Indy 17. It looked like they got the first down. They spot them back further.
Yeah.
And then obviously they don't get it on 4th and 1, but they get that 4th and 1. This game's over.
It's over.
And then even with the bad calls or whatever, you could argue there's some bad calls there.
On both sides.
Yeah, on both sides. Because even on the touchdown,
if
you go back to the touchdown, where they made it. What was it? It was 13-13.
Yeah.
There was a pass interference call on the Texans where it looked like they were just hand fighting, and you could have called offensive pass. It was like 4th and 30. No, it was like 3rd and 30.
Yeah, 3rd and 30. I was so mad about that one because
that was crazy.
Yep.
So it's like they got a gift there, and then. Ultimately, the Colts had a chance to win this game. They're down 4, and they just didn't get it done. So I don't really want to hear any excuses. You had an opportunity to win that game. You were down 4. You weren't down a touchdown.
And I think that's janky when you do that, and I think that's going to linger with them this week as well because those type of things, when the game's over, it's on to the next. It's on to Cincinnati, like Belichick used to say. So you can't let those type of things linger. All right, let's go to another huge division matchup. They're just back and forth this week, bro. All right, we got the Bears, the Chicago Bears, the upstarts of the NFC, man. The Midway Monsters are back. Great job by Ben Johnson. Has to be the coach of the year. Going to go against my guy, Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. Packers are laying almost a touchdown. Well, they are laying a touchdown. They're laying almost a touchdown at the extra point. They're laying 6.5. What's your opinion on this one, Raheem?
All right, this is one. I'm gonna be honest with you. Right now, I'm really struggling with it because, I said the Packers were one of the best teams in the league according to my model, but I still feel like there's just something off about this team. You look at the metrics. Everything says this Packers team is one of the best teams in the league. And everything says that this Bears team isn't very good. But ultimately, when I look at the Bears, I think they have a level of competency with Ben Johnson. They're able to run the ball, and they're also a team who not only can they run the ball, but they force the most turnovers in the NFL. A lot of people will say, oh, yeah, turnovers, they're random. They're fluky. We can't predict them. And that is correct. But, this Bears team has just they've been banged up defensively the whole year. And yet they're still able to force turnovers at a rate that is best in the NFL. And I don't know when that is going to regress, but I do think that just says something about their team. So the market is highly undervaluing this Bears team. My model is highly undervaluing this Bears team. And I kind of just disagree. I think there's a reason why you kind of sitting at 6.5. I kind of want some of the Bears, but I can't bet the Bears because my future plays are on the Bears. I got the Bears at 9-1. So this is kind of one of those games to where I kind of have to sit and watch, maybe, look for a hedge opportunity on Green Bay to, hedge those futures out. But my gut feel is that this is a field goal game in either way, because like people will say, oh, the Bears, they haven't played anybody. You look at the Bears schedule. They'll say, oh, they haven't played anybody. But who have the Packers beat? Like the Bears beat the Eagles, and that would be the best win on Green Bay's schedule. The best two wins on Green Bay's schedule are the two Lions games. And you could argue that the Lions aren't that good this year. So who else have they beaten? They lost to the Panthers at home. They lost to the Browns. Like, this is not – I just think that this Packers team, the metrics are just overvaluing them and undervaluing this Bears team. I think this line should be – look, I know my model has it 8. I know the market has it 6.5. But when I watch these teams, just from the eye test, I think this number should be 3.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bears, and I take the Bears money line on this one. The reason why is, from a betting perspective, the Bears are a scrappy team that stays in games. They're 8-1 against the spread this year. The Packers have been one of the worst teams in the NFL against the spread. They're 3-7 against the spread. They haven't lived up to their expectations. We know that Vegas sets the real lines, which is expected to perform, and they never can play up to their expectations. And the reasons why is because their receiving core, man. I cannot trust Green Bay's receiving core. Jordan Love will put it on those guys, and they still drop the ball. So I'm not going to trust that with a ball-hawking Bears team. And the Bears defense, they're leading the league in turnovers, but I bet you if you look at the last 3 years, they got to be top 5 in turnovers during that period, because if you remember when Eberflus was there, they were turning over the ball. I think that has a lot to do with Jaquan Brisker. He's that type of guy. He was at Penn State as well. He just, he's one of those ball-hawking safety that gets guys in the right position, does a good job of reading the quarterback's eyes. And, Peanut Tillman set it off for many years for the Bears with the peanut punch, and they still do that. They practice that with this team. Another thing to look at with this Bears team is just, it's about momentum, man. And they got all the momentum right now. They don't feel like they can lose to anyone, no matter what the score is right now. Ben Johnson has those guys believing. Jordan Love is 3-8 against the spread as a favorite of 6 or more points. So I'm not laying points with him. And also he's going 2 as a favorite of 6 or more against the Bears. I think that the Bears are a live dog at plus 200 in this game to win this game. They've shown before. Why did the Cowboys make the trade that they did? They said because Michael Parsons isn't that good against the run. One of my best friends in the world, shout out Percy Wilson in Monroe, Louisiana. Percy is a diehard Cowboys fan. He's been a Cowboys fan as long as we've been alive. His favorite player, his son, is an exceptional outside linebacker. He's 14 years old, plays varsity and starts at outside linebacker. Wears number 11 because he loves Michael Parsons. When the trade happened, the first thing that Percy said to me was, I'm glad we traded him. He couldn't stop the run. We can stop the run now. Like, because sacks are overrated, bro. Unless you're a team that, like how the Colts used to be in the past, where you can get up on teams, and now the sacks play a part of the game when teams are trying to come back, it's overrated. Like the Chiefs back in the game when they were offensive juggernaut, their defensive pass rushers meant something to the game. Look at the Browns. Myles Garrett's having a Hall of Fame season. Might break the sack record, and they suck. So it's more about stopping the run, and I think that the Bears' run game right now, with how Ben Johnson is drawing it up, they're running on anybody. They got a two-head monster back there. They look like it's Walt Payton and Matt Suey again back there. They got Mungai and they got Swift, and it seems like they push each other because Swift's like, this young boy Mungai from Rutgers on my row. I got to run this thing. If I don't, I'm going to be on the bench. And you see some of the best. He's a Philly guy, one of your Philly guys. We see some of the best ball from DeAndre Swift right now. I just like everything the Bears are doing, man. I'm glad that the books are underrating them, and they're setting up.
I mean, when you run for 280 yards against the Eagles, and that Eagles defense ain't no joke.
Eagles. against
like
the Georgia boys. You running 2-8 against them Georgia boys? Come on, man. And
you know what? This might be on my card because it's just like, I mean, like it's hard for me because, you know, I talk about my motto a lot, but obviously I don't play. Like I said, I thought this line should be 3. I think you can't blindly go by the numbers. And I think sometimes you go by the numbers so much. And sometimes there's years where the numbers just don't capture certain teams. And I think the Bears are one of those teams just because they're just so competent. They're able to run the ball. They're able to force turnovers. And I think that's the recipe for success in the NFL. And I think Jordan Love is a little bit shaky. Like I haven't seen the consistency that I thought I would get from him this year. Really, I think, you know, the last 2 years, ever since they played that playoff game against the 49ers, I felt like Jordan Love was supposed to take that leap, and I've never seen it yet.
He gave that game away. I was so sick. I had the Packers money line plus 340 that game because they were 10-point dogs at the Niners, and that was that year when everything was hitting on all cylinders for them, and that passing game was unstoppable. And I really thought they were going to get that done, but he shit his pants in the second half, man, and gave that game away to the 49ers. All right, we talked all of this pro ball. Now we got to get to my neck of the woods dealing with those amateurs. You know, I love some college football, man. Talk about a little college football real quick, man.
You have to school me because honestly, like I've been betting a little bit more college football lately. And honestly, I'm like next year, I might find myself just fully jumping into the market. Like, I mean, last week I had Bama last week. I was really happy about that.
Yep.
But yeah, like you got to school me because this is a big week. I mean, you got Championship Sunday. You got Georgia versus Bama. Like you got Indiana versus Ohio State. You got some good games. So what are you on? I got to hear this.
It's some outstanding game. Let's talk about first the playoffs, though, Raheem, because it's a mess right now. It's never amazes me how they set up this college football playoff system and it still never turns out right. You know, like because now they probably need to add some more teams. It's going to end up being 16 teams. I've always said that, but it's no way in hell when Notre Dame's best win this year is against number 16 USC.
Yeah.
And they allowed them to jump Miami. Their strength of schedule in Notre Dame is 42. You know, they're not in a conference. So since they're not in a conference, they could just freestyle and play who they want. They're independent. So their season's over with. They can't benefit or lose from this championship this week. And the weird rules that they have in the ACC, and you would think that the ACC would be smart enough to say, you know what, behind closed doors, let's hook this shit up. We're going to make sure it's Miami in the championship game against Virginia as it should have been. But with them having their only 2 losses being in conference, they ended up with the crazy scoring system where now Miami's not even playing in the ACC championship game. So they can't add to their resume. Thus, Miami's plus 575 to make the playoffs, but they beat Notre Dame head to head. And by eye test, when I watch Miami and I watch Notre Dame, I like Miami. You got Miami with a veteran quarterback who's already been to the national championship game, has a ring on his finger. You have a great defense for Miami over there. You got one of the best freshmen in the whole country at receiver for Miami, a solid running game, just a solid overall team. And you look at Notre Dame, you got a freshman at quarterback. CJ Carr's cool, but do I trust him in his first season? He's going to be the number 1 pick in 3 years, but not this year. So it's like Notre Dame has Reggie Love. They have a good running game. They have an awesome coach. We know that their coach is one of the best in the business, but their defense isn't the defense that he had the prior year. So I just don't understand. I guess it's because Notre Dame and the brand, but Miami's a big brand too. But I just feel like the ACC dropped the ball on this one, Raheem, because if Miami plays Virginia, the winner goes to play in the playoffs. Now, if Duke upsets Virginia, it's not going to be an ACC team in the college football playoffs unless somehow Miami jumps Notre Dame, which the way it's set up right now, it doesn't look like it's happening, man. So it's just strange scoring that they do. And I just feel like the ACC's hierarchy should have been smart enough to get together and say, I don't give a damn what these numbers say. We sending Miami to play in the championship against Virginia so that we can make sure that one of our teams get to the playoffs, man, and that our best team, which is Miami, is representing the conference. We got 4 teams locked in right now for the byes, and that's Ohio State, Indiana. I don't know if that stays the same after they play each other in Indianapolis this week for the Big Ten championship. But for right now, that's what it is. And then you got Georgia, who plays in the SEC championship against Alabama. And my sleeper is Texas Tech. I don't know if Burren Martin is good enough to get it done at quarterback. He's more of a deep ball thrower than a consistent work from the pocket guy. He takes shots, but their running game is so good with Dickey that the safeties have to respect it. So I like Texas Tech. I feel like them and Ohio State are the best two teams in the country this year, even more so than I believe in Indiana. So let's get to the games real quick. See what kind of comments we got here. Much love, brother. Appreciate you for being up in here. All right, let's get to the first game. The first game we're going to go to is going to be a rematch. Got BYU, and they're going to be traveling to Jerry's World, playing in Dallas against Texas Tech. Texas Tech is -12. The over and under is 49.5. Any opinion on this one at all, Raheem?
Yeah, I ain't got nothing. I got nothing on these college games.
Well, I can tell you this one. Texas Tech is the best team in the country, along with Ohio State, against the spread. And you know my saying, Raheem, good teams win, great teams cover. Special teams can win with the public on their back. And every week, the public is running down to the window and betting on Texas Tech. And every week, Texas Tech is being able to hold it down and come through for them. They're 11-1 against the spread. BYU just athletically is not going to be able to match up with Texas Tech. It doesn't matter what they do. Keita Satake is one of the best coaches in college football, man. What he does at BYU with the talent that they get over there is amazing. But talent-wise, I've seen this already. When they went to Texas Tech, it wasn't even close. And then you have Bear Bachmeier, who's a really good player, but he's still a freshman. And you're going against this Texas Tech defense that is the best defense along with Ohio State in the entire country, man. Rodriguez, outstanding linebacker. I watched him when he played at Virginia as a quarterback, a fullback, and a tight end. Now he's become the best Mike linebacker in the league, and I think he's going to be a great player on Sundays. Well-coached Texas Tech team. Weapons everywhere on the field. They got the young man at receiver that came out of Mo City that I watched in high school, who's a complete mismatch for anything that BYU has at DB, man. It's just a talent differential, man. Texas Tech already had Texas talent coming in, and then they were able to get that big budget from that booster billionaire who used to play offensive line for them. And with Mahomes being the face of the program and all his success in the NFL, and they're loaded, man. I just don't think that BYU can stay within the number. I'll be on Texas Tech on this one, -7 first half and -12 for the game. I think that they're going to show the committee that they're head and shoulders above everyone else in the Big 12 on that one. All right, let's go to the Midwest and get to the Big 10. Huge game. This is a battle of the Titans right here. The two only undefeated teams left in the country, man. Huge game. Both are going to the playoffs. Not as big as it would have been in the past before we had the playoffs, when this probably would have determined who went to the national championship game. So much like Oregon and Ohio State last year, the loser still will get another opportunity. So, because both these teams are locked in, they're going to the playoffs regardless. Indiana coming in, trying to show Ohio State that they can finally be the big dog. And Ryan Day and Ohio State playing the best football we've seen in the country. 10-1 against the spread this year. Another one that there's no holes in that team at all. Just a really well put together team. Do you know anything about these teams?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't. It's so crazy.
All you have to know about this one is that this is the closest thing that you're going to see to an NFL caliber game in college football, even more so than the next game we'll talk about, which is Georgia and Alabama, which will probably have the most NFL talent. But the coaching in this game in that Indiana and Ohio State will be so high level, it's NFL standard. Kurt Siedo over there at Indiana coaching. And
here's my question for you about this game. Because it's meaningless, are they going to go all out?
Yes, both will go all out. And the reason why is because regardless of what, everyone wants to be undefeated in college still. You want to be that one undefeated team. It might end up where the loser benefits more because motivation. We've seen it in the past before. Ohio State, when they lost to Michigan last year, that's what kind of turned the corner for them. Before that, they were just an all right team. they hit a switch, and this year they have a much better quarterback. Because Julian Sayin is a future first-round quarterback, very accurate, smart kid, runs Ryan Day's offense impeccably. Ryan Day, one of the best coaches of all time, not just this year. Ryan Day, when he was the OC for Ohio State, they were successful whether they had a running quarterback, that won the Heisman, and Troy Smith, or whether they were throwing the ball every down with C.J. Stroud. It doesn't matter. Whatever type of quarterback he gets, he's going to be able to design a game plan that they're going to benefit from. And if you notice, some of the quarterbacks you see, Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, they'll tell you right now they've been to the NFL and their best coach has been Ryan Day offensively. He's that good. He's that good.
The question I have for you is, why is this line only 4.5? I mean, Ohio State has just been downright unstoppable. You're talking about 12-0, 10-1-1 against the spread. Why is this line only on 4.5? I think, did they play earlier this year?
No, they haven't played this year.
They haven't played earlier this year. I guess the last time they played.
Yeah, they're undefeated. Both of them undefeated.
The last time they played, when was the last time they played? Last year?
Last year. And I had Indiana first half, and I was so ticked, one of the worst.
They won 38-15 that game?
That's the game when the first half, it was tied up 3-3, defensive struggle, and the stupid-ass punter for Indiana muffs the punt. Ohio State recovers it inside, tackles them within the 20, and then they score a touchdown and knock me out of the cover on the first half. They end up covering the first half by 7, and then they left them in the second half. But these teams, the reason why is because, like, Indiana is a juggernaut, man. Carson Yet he's been dominant before when he was even at James Madison. He's just a guy who knows how to coach. They have probably an advantage slightly at quarterback just because Mendoza is an upperclassman and Sayin is a little bit younger. You got all types of weapons on the Indiana side of the ball, all types of weapons on the Ohio State side of the ball. It's just that the books put a good number out there. It's a good number because they're going to get some action on Indiana. Because when I looked at the line initially, I was thinking maybe I go Indiana, but then I thought about it. I'm like, nah, the reason why is because you got two things on the Ohio State side that's a bigger advantage than anything that Indiana can present. First of all is Jeremiah Smith on the outside. No one for Indiana, even though they got a solid defense, no one in the country can hold him. Like Jeremiah Smith is the best receiver in the country. When he comes out next year, because he's not even eligible this year, he's a sophomore. Geno Smith's little cousin. Next year, when he comes out, he'll be probably the highest drafted wide receiver since maybe Megatron. Calvin Johnson, when he went to the Lions, I think he went number 3 to Detroit. So he'll be right up there. He's an advantage that they have. And another thing that I really like is Matt Patricia coming with that. You know how Matt Patricia is. He's a mad scientist, man. He has that pencil in his ear, and he's drawing up all types of Pythagorean theories and formulas and shit, because you know how he is. And this is college kids he's going against with that, So he has a smart enough and talented enough defense where he can run all of his exotics and things that he likes to run. And not a lot of quarterbacks have seen that, in college. They're used to seeing a clear advantage in teams that they're playing on the outside or with their running backs and the linebacker, and, just seeing some good clear vision on where they want to go with the ball. And he hides it so good. He saw how he had Arch looking in the first game. That's why Ohio State was such an easy bet for me on that one. And I think Ohio State wins this game by a touchdown minimum. I just think that they're a better team. I think that I've seen Fernando Mendoza outside of Indiana, and I think he becomes a little bit more back to the Cal version of himself than the one we've seen all year. They had a miracle to win against Penn State. You look at Ohio State, it's not one game they played this year has been close. And I don't think it will be until they get into the college football playoffs and start to face some of these SEC teams. So I just think that they're going to outclass them. And I think the Carson Yeti will have his boys ready to play. I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana goes the first half and it's a close game going into the fourth. But I think as the game continues to go, just like with the Michigan game that I took Michigan on, I knew that they could stay with them in the trenches. But as the game keeps going, Ohio State's the talent is just going to overwhelm me, man. And, talent combined with great coaching is hard to beat. So give me Ohio State on this one. I'll lay the 4.5.
Yeah, obviously I'm not the biggest college football fan, and I'm not the biggest college football bettor. But I looked at this line and I said, you know what, this has to be short based on how well Ohio State is playing and just the caliber. I mean, just like I know the public is going to be all over Ohio State, but it just feels like as you get later on in the year, as you get into the college football playoff, it almost starts to feel like you can't make these numbers high enough. And I think we saw it last year with Ohio State in the postseason. Like it was just kind of like, all right, you almost could be a casual and you could just say, you know what, I'm going to take the best team. And ultimately, they ended up getting it done. And I think, you probably could back them again. I mean, I think Ryan Day has really overcome his demons.
Yeah.
You look at a guy who he lost to Michigan every year. It was free money.
Yeah.
And, they lose to Michigan last year. They win this year. And it's just like, it just feels like that monkey is off their back. And it's just, they're going to keep riding that momentum.
They ride momentum. Exactly. He's finally found, it's kind of like, like when we do the sports betting, it became a moment when you said, you know what? These books can't fade me, bro. Like I can, anytime I want to go in here and get some money, I can. And I think that's how he feels right now. There's certain plays that he's keeping took, man, and he doesn't even pull out. You got Cornell Tate on the other side. Cornell Tate might end up being the first receiver taken in the NFL draft. And he's like an afterthought with Ohio State. They're just so talented, man. One of their weaker years in the running back field, but Bo Jackson is starting to take the lead and looks like he got a great name, right? Bo Jackson. He seems like he's going to be the big dog and the next great running back. So Ohio State's just loaded, man. Julian Saban's going to be, he's going to put up ridiculous numbers next year with him and Jeremiah Smith. It's going to be crazy, bro, because he was a redshirt freshman this year and he's playing like a veteran, man. Just great touch, great arm, and just really does a good job of running that system and protecting the ball. One thing to look at, this game is in Indianapolis. So kind of like why I like Texas Tech having the home field advantage. I know a lot of Dallas is really close compared to coming from Provo, Utah. So I think that it's going to be a more Texas Tech crowd in the Big 12. I think we're going to see a lot of red. It's going to be a lot of maroon up in there for Indiana for sure. They're probably going to take over the Indianapolis Dome. But with that said, Ohio State's too good. I'm not fading. It's one of those type of teams that I'm not getting in front of. It's either bet them or don't bet at all, Yeah. All right, let's get to the SEC championship game. Now, this is a good one right here. We got a rivalry. We got Kirby Smart and his Georgia Bulldogs, and we know Kirby has had some nightmare experiences against Alabama. I think the only time he's beaten them in maybe the last 8 or 9 times they played was in the national championship. And the only reason I feel like they even won that game is because Jameson Williams got hurt. The first half, Jameson Williamson had about 100 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, and Bryce Young and him were connecting all over the field. He gets hurt, and from there, Georgia's defense took over the game and ends up winning that game. I know you know a little bit about these two right here. I know you have an opinion on this one.
I kind of want to go with Georgia.
Okay.
I kind of want to go with Georgia. I did watch parts of that game last time. It felt like it was Georgia's game to win. And, Bama really, they found themselves in a dogfight last week. Like, that was a real dogfight against an Auburn team, which has kind of struggled for most of the year. And I think that the 2.5 is I feel like this is the spot to just lay it with Georgia. I really do. I think it's 2.5 on the road for a reason. Now, obviously, college is just funny because you have those teams who just can't get the monkey off the hump. Right. So you're kind of trying to fade in history, but that's my gut feel on this. What do you think?
9-1 in the last 10 is hard for me to fade, man. And in fact, another very interesting stat that always sticks out to me with Caleb DeBoer in these matchups, I always take the points for Caleb DeBoer going back to Washington in these matchups. He's 7-0 straight up against his contemporaries, against Kirby Smart.
But even with the 2.5, because I feel like this is basically saying pick a winner right here.
I say money line Bama, and the reason why is because it's a clear advantage that Alabama holds on offense and with a quarterback. Ty Simpson is he a coach's son, and he got a great offensive coach in Caleb DeBoer, one of the guys who brings the best out of his quarterbacks. He's going to always have that team ready to play offensively. 2 three really good receivers over there. We see a Ryan Williams showing. He started his fingernails painted and he disappeared, but he's a hell of a weapon when he wants to play. Now the kid out of Vegas, Jeremy Bernard, is really a wide receiver 1, but on the other side, I just don't trust Gunnar Stockton, man. That's the problem with me. You got Nate Frazier, but Alabama's not going to let Nate Frazier run all over them. They're going to make Gunnar Stockton beat them. And I just don't think good old boy Gunnar has enough talent to score enough points because Alabama's defense is solid too. So I think that they can hold Georgia to 20 points, 24 points. But now can Kirby figure out a way to hold Caleb because he's not been able to do anything with his offense so far, and I don't think he will this week either. I think that Alabama's going to upset this guy says Gunnar got better as well. Nope. Well, bet on Gunnar, buddy. He said, bet on, buddy. I'm taking Alabama.
It scares me with the way that Bama they had to fight like last week, and that was like a real, like they were up 17-0, and then it was just like, damn, that was a losable game for them.
You're a boxing expert though, and you know what, styles make fights, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why Kirby sees that crimson, he automatically is like, damn, I'm about to lose again. Because give him anybody else but Bama, man. Give him anybody but Bama. And it's too much when you got an offense that can do the things that he can do offensively, and you got a coach like Caleb DeBoer. I'm just not fading Caleb DeBoer. That's what it boils down to. And I think highly of Kirby Smart. But I'm going to always take an offensive guy over a defensive guy, man. I'm going to always do that. My guy, Monty P, say he's just tuning. That's all right, brother. It's about the post after we get off the live. You can go back and rewatch the show. You guys make sure that you watch it. I see we got a lot of the people up in here now. When we dropped the first hour, I think you guys were probably getting ready for your evening bets, and we apologize for coming on at this time. We're usually on in the morning, but busy time of the year. Me and my guy Raheem felt this was the best time. But as I said, we talking about for the weekend. So you guys got a couple days to go to the channel, to the Wagering World channel, and go check out all of the information we gave out. We gave out our top 5 NFL power rankings. We talked about the NFL slate this week. We talked about some college football and the playoffs. Just a really solid time on the show, as always, with my brother Raheem Palmer, one of the best handicappers in the country, man. You can catch him on the Ringer Gambling Show every week. Let's get to this Ball Parlay. I need your best play. It can be for the day or for the whole weekend. A couple of them, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter.
We gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys, man. Take them +3. Take a money line. That's the play, man. Like I think this is the de facto elimination game. I think this is a Cowboys team who is on the rise. I think this is a Lions team which is kind of on the downswing right now. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys.
So you rolling with the Cowboys, and that's on Thursday night, correct?
Yeah, that's on Thursday night. I mean, I will get you guys some NBA, but I'm still kind of in the mix.
That's what I was about to ask you. Did you play in the NBA tonight?
I haven't yet, actually. I'm like a little bit behind. Like you guys know, I just came back from Philly yesterday. I had some stuff yesterday, but today I've been kind of like running around. Like I have some thoughts on some things. Like I'm looking at a couple of games, but let me see if I got anything. Hold up.
Okay. Well, while you doing that, I'll give them a little college basketball, and then I'll swing them some tennis after that. But let's go to college basketball first. I'm going to be riding with Arkansas Razorbacks. First half and the game. First half +1 for the game, +2.5. Louisville is a tough team. I like their new head coach. I like how they shoot the 3, but Arkansas, I think that Arkansas is coming off of feeling like they should have just won that game against Duke. Calipari is building his culture there and putting some of his guys in place there. Short dog at home is always a sweet one for me. So give me that +2.5 and give me the +1 first half with the Arkansas Razorbacks at home. And I was just looking at the Alabama Clemson game. It's a lot of good college basketball, bro. They got these conference game things going on. Like I believe it's ACC against the
ACC versus SEC challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been watching some of that too. It's definitely been good. Like, see, I don't want to give you guys anything that has like already moved. Like a lot of stuff has just like legitimately like just moved a ton. And I normally do like lately, I've been kind of like betting at post just because I don't want to beat the closing line. I know this is like very counterintuitive, but a lot of times when you beat the closing line enough, these books say no mas. I'm trying to keep these accounts open a little bit more. So I've been like kind of betting into closers, and even if it means me getting the worst of it. And a lot of times I don't think I'm necessarily getting the worst of it because people have been moving numbers all day. And I look at it from the approach that sometimes people move the number too much.
Right.
So like I'm kind of looking at it from that angle as opposed to I don't want to come in and show the books and I'm beating the line by 2 and 3 points, every single day. Like I like one of the games that I like the Miami Heat against the Mavericks. That moved 2 points. I like the Pistons -2.5 against the Bucks. That moved 2 points. So it's just like a lot of these numbers, they move so much that like I'm not gonna just sit up here and give you guys numbers that have moved a ton. So
okay, well, that's understandable, and I'm sure that the people appreciate that. I'm sorry, my wife texted me. She got the little badasses outside. They try to figure out they can come in. She know when they come in, they attacking me, man. My 3-year-old daughter and my 5-year-old son, they gonna come in here. Y'all ain't gonna be able to hear anything. My boy said, "Shout out to you." He say he's from Pharrell. He said he didn't know he was from Philly. So
yeah, I was born and raised in Philly. I went to UPenn. I went to UPenn for college. I went to George Washington Carver High School, engineering science for high school. From Southwest Philly, out by the airport. Like I'm pretty much, it's crazy. I used to DJ in all the Philly spots. Van Gogh, Vault when that was open. It used to be called Emerald City. Used to be called Pinnacle. Pretty much every big spot. Silk City. I was DJing in them back in my DJ days. So I was born and raised there. I lived most of my life there before I moved to Vegas. So Philly's my home. The only thing in Philly I don't rep is the Eagles. That's it. I'm a Cowboys fan, but everything else about me is Philly.
All right, man. This is the time of year where it's not a lot of tennis, but it's still some opportunities. If you guys watch the show enough, I've always talked about during Christmas time, Alicia Parks likes to go and make a little money. That's her time of the year, man. Beautiful young lady out of Atlanta. She's an American player, and man, she has really underachieved because she's one of the best servers on tour and has all types of talent, but she doesn't play Raheem until the end of the year. I guess it's time to go Christmas shopping, and she makes us some money.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because what happens is the top 50 players or so don't even play this time of year. They're at home. They take off after the WTA finals, the ATP finals, might play a couple exhibitions, but they're mostly home from Thanksgiving all the way until January when the Australian Open starts. So we're gonna go with Alicia Parks on a parlay at -260. It's gonna be at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're on the East Coast, you'll be up. It'll be 8 a.m. And then we're going to put her with Tamara Korpash. Korpash is playing a local. Fiona Farrow is a decent player, but she just doesn't have the power indoors to hit with Korpash. If you put Parks and Korpash together at two-leg parlay, that's -104. That's going to be at Angers, Angers indoor tournament in France. So I'm going with Angers, Korpash at -240 times Alicia Parks at -260 to play at -104 to get some wintertime tennis in. And then also, as you guys know, I said I'm going twice on Arkansas. Give me the Hogs first half +1 and also +2.5 for the game. My guy Raheem said he's rolling with his Cowboys. He says that +3 and money line is good Thursday night in Detroit. Guys, if you're interested in any of my college football packs, this is going to be a great week. This one, man. Friday, oh man. Hey man, I got a betting tree with tennis. It's one of my true things I'm most proud of is all the people and brothers and underground bettors who I've got on the tennis market, man. It's a lot of advantages in tennis. It's a lot easier to handicap 2 players than 11 or 5. It's also a lot easier to pick from a menu when you have 300 games, 300 matches going during the day. And I've been in it for a long time, man. I used to do BetUS TV, and I was a tennis expert over there with my guy who's from Philly as well. The mayor, I call him Alex Christian, my boy Noops, who's one of the guys who I initially started betting tennis with many, many moons ago, man. So it's all love. I'm glad that I was able to get you into the tennis world, and hopefully you're having a great tennis year betting like we are in the private group. If you guys are interested in getting any of my college football plays, DM me. I do have 2 slots that are available for college football picks. It's going to be a busy Friday, busy Saturday, all the way through the playoffs, man. It's the end of the year. The bowl games are starting. It's going to be a menu to feast off of. So if you like betting college football, you want to win, you're tired of coming up short, holler at 5 Star in Vegas, shoot me a DM. Anything for the people before we get out here, Raheem?
I wish I could have gave you guys some NBA. I'm a little bit behind, and I'm not going to force nothing. I don't want to give you guys anything, that I wouldn't personally play myself. But if I do anything tonight, I'll make sure I tweet it out. But I just been, busy coming back from Philly, running around Vegas. So, yeah, Cowboys are my favorite play. But you can find me on the Ringer Gambling Show. If you got FanDuel Sports Network in your town, you can find me on Sunday, Ringer NFL pregame show. You can find me on Mondays. You can also find me on Thursdays. So we got a lot of good things going over at the Ringer. So hopefully you can check me out. And, me and Fa, we've been running around Vegas. Hopefully we're going to be doing more with y'all in the future. So tap in.
Yeah, tap in. Me and Raheem are going to definitely put together something permanently in the coming years. Right now, we'll be back with you soon. We'll probably get back in a week or 2 weeks or so. We'll figure out some schedules because I really enjoy doing the show with my boy, man. We always connected, and we kind of from around the same type of world, bro. Both of us come out the music industry, but always with sports fans and transitioned from that world and entertainment into a world where we had, control of our own self, didn't have to deal with all these suckers. It's a lot easier dealing with the casino than dealing with these suckers. So that's why we're real tight, bro, and we really enjoy kicking and talking sports with you guys, man. As always, I dedicate this show to the greatest Houston sports fan I know, and that's my father, John H. Lenz. I do this for you, Dad, for my boy Raheem Palmer. Y'all go check him out at the Rim. I'm 5-star in Vegas. This is the Wager World. It's always us versus the machine, guys. We'll see you guys next week.